ASPxSiteMapControl adds an advanced sitemap generation engine to your web development toolbox. The control can be used alongside the ASPxSiteMap data source component, which extends the standard data source to make it much easier to customize the structure of your sitemap. In this video, you'll learn how to create and populate a new sitemap control, as well as customize the layout and other visual elements of the control. So let's get started. I'll start with an ASP.NET application. From the toolbox, I drag and drop a new ASPxSiteMap control onto the page. I've already prepared a sitemap file and copied it to the website's app data folder. Let's open the countries.sitemap file to view its content. You can see that each item is represented as a sitemap node. The URL and title attribute for each node contains the information that will be used to populate and represent the items within the sitemap control. I switch back to Design View. From the Controls Smart Tag, I invoke the Data Source Configuration Wizard. For data source type, I'll select ASPxSiteMap Data Source and click OK. You can see that a new sitemap data source control has been added to the page. I'll use its sitemap file name property to specify the countries.sitemap file that we looked at earlier. Upon clicking OK, you'll notice that the sitemap control is automatically populated with content retrieved from our data source file. I select the control and expand the Properties panel. I modify the column count property so that the data is distributed evenly among 3 columns. I can expand the columns property and further customize the visual aspects of each column. For the purposes of this lesson, I set the back color of the first column to a light shade of yellow. You can see the modification applied to the first column only. I remove the background color. Next, I'm going to customize the hierarchy levels for the sitemap. To do this, I expand Default Level Properties. Let's set the back color property to aqua in order to demonstrate this behavior. I clear the property and move on to the Level Properties collection. Here I can specify appearance settings for each individual nesting level. I invoke the Level Properties editor and create a new item. This will contain settings for the first hierarchical level within the sitemap control. I set the back color property to light pink. I click OK to close the editor. You can see the background color has been applied to all the category levels. Now I can also access the properties by expanding Level Properties and modifying the settings inside it. I clear the back color property. I can set the items to be categorized. The default repeat direction is set to vertical, meaning that the items are listed from top to bottom. I can change this to horizontal so that they are listed across. Next, let's see how we can control the number of nesting levels displayed within the sitemap control. I set the maximum display levels property to 2, and you'll immediately notice that the sub-items for cities are no longer displayed. At this point, let's run the application and see the control at runtime. The control is created and populated with items. Let's apply a few more layout customizations to the control. I close the web browser and return to Visual Studio. I select the control and set its Flow Layout Level property to 0. You can now see that only the nodes of the first hierarchy level are displayed in a flow layout. I can change this to 1, and the second level of nodes are categorized and displayed in a flow layout. To make the appearance more compact, I'll set the Flow Layout Maximum Display Items property so that only 2 items are displayed under each category. The ellipsis indicates that there are more items for each category that are not displayed. Finally, let's change the separator between each item from commas to a line. To do this, I'll set the Flow Layout Item Separator property. And I'm done. I run the application again to see the final results. The sitemap control is populated with items that are categorized and displayed in flow layout mode. I can click on a link and I'm redirected to the corresponding page specified in the sitemap data source file. Thanks for watching, and thank you for choosing DevExpress.